Arthur Conan Doyle was a brilliant medical doctor and the author who created Sherlock Holmes, literature's ultimate symbol of cold, deductive logic. But while his famous detective relied entirely on hard evidence, Doyle spent his own evenings attending seances, completely convinced he was communicating with the dead. His obsession ran so deep that it destroyed his close friendship with the legendary escape artist Harry Houdini. Houdini repeatedly tried to explain exactly how these mediums were faking their tricks, but Doyle stubbornly refused to listen. He eventually staked his global reputation on photographs of fairies in a Yorkshire garden. He published the photos as absolute proof of the supernatural, completely missing the visible hat pins holding the cardboard cutouts together. A brilliant medical doctor and the creator of literature's sharpest mind fell for a child's prank. Raw brain power on paper simply does not guarantee rational thinking in the real world. Consider Kary Mullis, a Nobel Prize-winning biochemist. Despite his massive contributions to science, he fiercely defended bizarre conspiracy theories and publicly claimed he was once abducted by a glowing alien raccoon. Or take Paul Frampton, a world-renowned theoretical physicist. He fell for a remarkably obvious online dating scam that ended with him arrested in Argentina carrying 2 kilograms of cocaine for a fake bikini model. We tend to assume that high SAT scores, prestigious university degrees, and massive processing power automatically yield sound judgment. The data proves otherwise. Having a high IQ might actually make you more vulnerable to irrational mistakes. Psychologists call this the intelligence trap. The root of this misunderstanding goes back to the early 20th century. Psychologist Louis Terman developed the modern IQ test, cementing the societal belief that innate, raw processing power is the single greatest predictor of human success. Standardized tests measure specific skills, like rapid pattern recognition and abstract reasoning. Think of this kind of intelligence as a massive, high-performance car engine. A powerful engine is useless without the right equipment to guide it. Cognitive scientists use the term dysrationalia to describe the inability to think rationally despite having high intelligence. It is the equivalent of having a race car with hundreds of horsepower, but absolutely no steering wheel. Without the right cognitive checks and balances, a massive intellect doesn't keep you on the road. It just helps you drive off a conceptual cliff much faster. So why do brilliant people actively defend absurd ideas, rather than simply looking at the facts and correcting their mistakes? Human intelligence didn't primarily evolve to help us objectively seek scientific truth. It evolved to help us navigate complex social dynamics, persuade our peers, and win arguments inside early human tribes. This leads to a phenomenon called motivated reasoning. Instead of weighing evidence fairly, smart people use their impressive brain power to build complex, impenetrable justifications for the beliefs they already hold. They absorb the data that confirms their bias and aggressively deflect anything that contradicts it. Albert Einstein fell right into this trap. He spent the final 25 years of his life stubbornly ignoring the proven discoveries of quantum mechanics, simply because the chaotic nature of the quantum world conflicted with his personal preference for a predictable universe. Highly intelligent people don't think less than the average person. They think quite a bit more. They just use that extra cognitive power to outsmart themselves. This blind spot gets even worse when you look at deep, specialized knowledge. In 2004, a series of devastating bombings struck the commuter train system in Madrid, triggering a massive international investigation. Soon after, an American lawyer named Brandon Mayfield was suddenly arrested by federal agents. The entire case against him rested on a single piece of evidence: a fingerprint found on a plastic bag of detonators in Spain. Multiple elite FBI forensics examiners reviewed the evidence. These were the best in the world at what they do, and they declared with absolute 100% certainty that the print belonged to Mayfield. Spanish authorities eventually matched the fingerprint to an Algerian man with actual ties to the attack. The FBI's top experts were spectacularly, undeniably wrong. Psychologists call this earned dogmatism. Decades of deep expertise create a rigid bias blind spot where experts begin to confuse their impressive credentials with infallibility, completely losing the ability to step back and question their own initial assumptions. The exact mental shortcuts that allow a specialist to do their job quickly and efficiently are the same traits that leave them dangerously blind to their own devastating errors. Intelligence is simply a processor. It acts as an amplifier for whatever foundational assumptions you feed into it. Start with a flawed premise and amplify it with a genius-level intellect, and you don't get the truth. You get a perfectly rationalized mistake. To escape this trap, researchers are now focusing on a completely different psychological skill set, a framework called evidence-based wisdom. Evidence-based wisdom requires cognitive reflection, the habit of pausing to question your own gut instincts. It demands intellectual humility, and most importantly, the willingness to look directly at the data and admit, I don't know. The next time you find yourself deep in a debate, stop and ask yourself a question. Are you actually using your intelligence to discover the truth? Or are you merely using it to aggressively rearrange your own prejudices?